that country's leaders indicate a ground invasion could come at any time. Israel dramatically upped its actions on Hamas-controlled Gaza, blowing up hundreds of targets there today alone, the military admits. That's as militants prove their firepower, excuse me, and aim long-range rockets at Israel's major cities. That's a wedding in Tel Aviv. Guests scrambling for the exits as rockets screamed overhead. Just some of the dozens of powerful rockets the militants have fired. Israel's Iron Dome air defense system, as they call it, stopped a lot of them, they tell us, but some still slipped through clearly. Hamas fighters admit firing the rockets and claim they tried to hit an Israeli nuclear plant. Now, with 40,000 Israeli troops ready for a possible ground invasion, excuse me, Israel's security chief vows his country will keep fighting as long as Hamas rockets are flying. We'll show you where the analysts say that these latest attacks are different and disturbing. You can see just how far the rockets are reaching. This is the Gaza over here. It's like 25 miles long, 7 miles deep. It's just a little spit of land. And then over here, this is Jerusalem. Just about 39 miles is Jerusalem. They fired at Jerusalem. Rockets have made it there. And as far away as Tel Aviv here, which is on the sea, obviously. And then look at Hadera over here. This is as far as Hamas has ever sent anything from way over in Gaza. That's 70 miles away. According to the reporting of the New York Times newspaper, one of the rockets appears to be from Iran, which has long supported Hamas. Now, Israel reports it's going after Hamas leaders and hideouts, blasting targets by the hundreds. Israeli and Palestinians say that the strikes have killed more than 40 people in the Gaza since just yesterday. And Israeli officials now warn this should be the beginning of something much bigger. Our John Huddy with the news. He's live on the Israeli-Gaza border for us this evening. John, you're at the Iron Dome battery. What did you see there today?
Well, Shepard, by the way, there's two missiles that are of great concern. The M75s, which have a range of about 40 to 50 miles, and then M302s that have a range up to 100 miles. So that's a concern for Israeli military officials. And to say the least, the Israeli Defense Forces have had a very busy day, not only engaging in those airstrikes, but also taking out rockets as part of, as you mentioned, the Iron Dome missile rocket defense system. In fact, we have one of those missile batteries behind us. It went firing into action earlier, and we got some video of that. We showed it to you earlier this afternoon. It's worth showing again, so take a look. The missile launcher just fired, meaning that it struck an incoming rocket that was targeting, in fact, it just blew it up right there, targeting a civilian location. And that rocket was targeting a city called Ashkelon, about a population of 125,000 people. It's a coastal city, and it's incidentally where we're staying the next few days. Having said that, let me go through the latest numbers that we have in terms of the casualty rates, airstrikes. I'm going to refer to my notes on this one. So far, according to the military officials, more than 50 rockets have been fired at Israel. More than 14 rockets have been intercepted by the Iron Dome defense, as we've been talking about. Also, the Israeli Air Force, the latest numbers, has hit more than 130 targets throughout Gaza with those airstrikes. And as mentioned, Shepard, more than 40 Palestinians have been killed, including several children. And again, in terms of those long-range rockets, again, the M75, range of 40 to 50 miles, and then the M302s, which have a range up to 100 miles. We've seen them go as far as Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and beyond. So, big concern there, Shepard.
John Huddy on the Gaza border with Israel. John, thanks very much. Let's turn to the Israeli Prime Minister's spokesman for Benjamin Netanyahu. Mark Regev is live with us from Jerusalem this evening. Mark, it's nice to see you. Thank you.
Good to be here.
The concern over here is obviously, what's the bar? This back and forth thing, this is an old movie. We've seen it many times. What is the bar for a ground incursion this time?
Well, as you've reported, Hamas rockets have hit the very center of the country. They've aimed those rockets at our urban population centers in Tel Aviv, at our capital in Jerusalem, and it has to stop. And the truth is, over the last few years, Hamas has succeeded in building in Gaza a formidable terrorist military machine. And as you reported correctly, they've had the help of the Iranians to have these medium and longer range missiles. So we are acting today. The Israeli Defense Forces are working at this moment to dismantle that formidable military machine. Now, if it requires a land incursion, I don't know yet, but we're ready to do whatever it takes to protect our people.
Are the troops at the border, are they in formation, are they ready, or how would you describe this readiness on behalf of the troops?
Well, we've called up Army reservists and we've redeployed forces very close to the Gaza frontier. They are ready to move when the order is given.
Mark, anybody who's followed this region for a time knows that this is part of a pattern, one that you could pretty much expect. There's a strike, there's a back and forth. You knock out the rockets, you kill some people. It calms down, and then it happens again. So here we are again in what appears to be a continuing cycle. Is there a thought about how to break this cycle so that every few years Hamas doesn't come across the border and kill some people and Israel fires and away we go again?
You know, I wish there was an easy solution that I could share with you, but when you're dealing with these Islamic extremists, you've got to fight them and you've got to defeat them. I mean, ultimately, Hamas belongs to that same family of radical militant Islamic groups like Boko Haram in Nigeria and ISIS in Iraq and Hezbollah in Lebanon. These are extremist groups. These are brutal groups. These groups have no qualms whatsoever about targeting innocent civilians. They don't even care about the Palestinian people if it allows them to advance their crazy radical theology.
The facts show they are extremists, they are brutal. In this case, they're also part of the government, as most of our viewers know. And most of our viewers also know that part of the discussion here has been Israelis in Palestinian settlements, in these settlements in the Gaza. And that's where this began, with these 3 Israeli youths who were as innocent as anyone could ever have been, being killed in what is the occupied territories. Should these settlements be part of this discussion now, and if not, why not?
Listen, some people say to Israel, Shepherd, that, you know, you guys just don't get it. Just take down all the settlements and pull back to the 1967 lines and everything will be wonderful, you'll get peace. I wish it was that simple. In Gaza, that's exactly what we did under Ariel Sharon, you'll recall. Yep. We took down all the settlements out of Gaza. We pulled back to the recognized international frontier, and what did we get? We didn't get peace. We got Hamas taking over the Gaza Strip, and we've had thousands of rockets fired from Gaza on our civilians because these radical extremists don't recognize the Jewish state in any border. And that's the truth. We want to engage with a Palestinian leadership that's moderate. We want peace, but Hamas is definitely not that leadership.
Before we go, and I don't have much time, what is your level of concern, Mark, that this time this could escalate, that there could be a series of events which could make this spread beyond Israel and the Gaza, that this could become something much, much, much more difficult to contain?
Well, this could get worse. This could escalate. I'm confident that we have the ability to protect the Israeli public. We've spent billions of dollars in homeland defense, in beefing up security, and of course in creating this missile defense system, Iron Dome, which has been very effective. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the American people, to thank your government, to thank your Congress. It's a joint venture and it works. It shoots down those incoming missiles. So if I look at the situation now, I wouldn't want to be in Hamas's shoes. We want now to dismantle Hamas's military structure. We want to reassert Israeli deterrence. We want to bring about a long period of quiet, where the people of Israel don't have to live in fear of an incoming rocket fired by the terrorists in Gaza.
Mark Regev, the spokesman for the Israeli Prime Minister. Mark, as always, good to see you and thank you. President Obama is headed to Texas this afternoon to talk about the crisis on the southwest border with thousands of unaccompanied children flooding into our country. What should be done? Stay tuned.
Shepard Smith reporting is brought to you